Okay, so the first part was taking our Illustrator prototype. So this could be an XD prototype. It doesn't have to be Illustrator. Normally you start Illustrator, then you go to XD, do your interactivity. You then extract your assets for use in your web page. So that's the first step here, is to open up the prototype. Eventually. Yeah, it seems like it. It's just, there's the, okay, let me get my file out. Ah, there we go. Right, so this is it. It's very, very simple. Obviously, your final project should be more not necessarily more complex. Complexity isn't always a good thing, but it should be more comprehensive than this. This is a really simple idea. So what we're going to do is extract the assets that we need. So what you've got to do is two things. You've got to decide, what can I do with HTML and CSS, and what do I have to do with pictures? So obviously things like the photograph must be extracted as a picture. This button doesn't. This whole button can be made with CSS. The logo you need to extract as an image. This needs to be extracted as an image. So you need to know what kinds of image formats to extract as well. So I'm going to start with a little hamburger icon, and I'm going to extract that. So File, Export Selection, and I'm just going to call this menu icon. Remember to use your web naming conventions, and I'll just make a new folder here. And an images, underscore images. And this needs to be saved. You could save it as a PNG or an SVG. PNG is easier to work with, but SVG is more flexible in terms of responsive design. So I'm going to choose SVG, export. So that one's done. The logo, I'm going to select these three together. And because this is quite complex, I'm going to rather save it as a PNG, because remember, SVG is code. So when you insert an SVG into your page, you're inserting a big lot of code. So be careful of very complex vector images. So this one, export. I'll just call this Mog logo, and PNG 8, which means it'll have transparency. Export. Okay, the strapline can be done with HTML. This image I need to extract. So I'll call this Mog Hero, and that will be a JPEG 100, which means 100% quality. Okay, this little location icon I need to extract as an SVG. I'll just call it location icon, SVG. This little icon here, same. Just call it down icon. And finally, this little thing here, export selection. I'll call that close icon. SVG, export. Okay, so we've got all the assets we need to start actually building our web page, and then styling it with CSS. So I'm going to open my web coding program. You're going to use Dreamweaver or whatever works for you. I personally have stopped using Dreamweaver just because it's an absolute disaster on a Mac. Adobe have just decided not to continue bug fixing. So, and also no one in the industry really uses Dreamweaver. If you go to someone in a web design company, you say you use Dreamweaver, they're going to laugh at you. Yeah, they use free stuff mostly. And then I'll just use Chrome and put them side by side. So I've got Atom. Atom is a free coding application. It's actually fantastic. So I'm just going to go and say add project folder. I'll go and choose that project folder I made. And then I'm just going to, okay, whenever this comes up, just cancel it. I'm just going to make a new file and save it as index.html. And then I can close this little thing here, and here's my index.html. Now the beauty with Atom is that I don't have to type in my little greater than and less than. If I just type HTML, it puts everything in for you. So providing I've saved the file as a .html. So now save that, and then I want to be able to view what I'm doing in Chrome. So I'm just going to go to that index page, right click, copy full path, paste it into the address book here, address field. So now whatever I'm doing here is going to be reflected across this side. So the first thing I'm going to do is title. I'll just call this Mog Hub homepage. Okay, and then if we have a look at our page, we've got a header, a main section, and a footer. So let's put those tags in first. So remember to tab in with your code. So header, main, footer. Okay, so inside the header section, we've got our little menu icon. So, and here it's going to be underscore images, backslash, and let me just check what the name of that is. Okay, it is menu icon. Okay, and here I need to just take all of these images and put them in the root of the images folder. Same with these two. I don't need these little extra subfolders. That's something that Illustrator put in. Okay, so I can take those two out. Alright, so save. Wrong side, save, refresh, and now I've got a big ass menu thing that I need to resize temporarily. So over here I'm just going to say width 200 pixels. Actually, let's make it 100. Okay, so I've got a little menu thing there, and then my alt tag, Mog Hub menu icon. Okay, then if I look at my prototype, when I click on that menu, this is going to slide out, and then I need to click on this to close it again. So I also need to put this in. So that's the close icon. So I'm just going to take this line here, copy and paste, and just change this word here to close. Okay, doesn't look like anything's happened because that's a white picture. Let me just double check that it is called close icon. Yeah, it is. Alright, then we're going to put in our menu, actual menu here. So I need to put in an unordered list. That's the normal way of representing menus in HTML. And then list items. So the first one is register, followed by to book a mog, followed by to volunteer, T's and C's. What? Okay, contact us. Donate. Cash. Kind. Okay, so save, refresh. There's our unordered list. Some of these have got to be links. So to book a MOG, select that and then wrap a tag around it. So on Atom, that's just right click, wrap selection, and Dreamweaver, that will be Control or Command T. So I'm just going to wrap it in an A tag and then put in an href. Of hash. That just makes it kind of a fake link. So it becomes a blue thing there. So it's not really linking to anything at the moment. Same again here. And then T's and C's. Contact us. Cache. And kind. Okay, so you can see now that we've got these links to nowhere, but at least they look like links and we can style them as links. All right, so back here we've got this whole page is actually done now in terms of HTML. All the rest will be controlled with CSS. So these horizontal rules here, these will be borders in CSS. So now we get to the main area, and in the main area we've got an image. And remember, when you're looking at HTML and CSS, you've got to determine what is content and what is decoration. So this image could be both, but I'm going to say it's decoration. In other words, if I remove CSS, it won't be there. And that's okay, because it's really just a nice kind of hero shot. It's a bit of eye candy. But if I take it away, the functionality of the website won't be compromised and the content will still be usable. So I'm going to actually leave this picture out of my HTML altogether, and it'll be used in CSS as a background image for the main tag. So I'm going to focus on this button here, and I'm going to make that in the main section. I'm going to make that a div with an ID of, whoops, I hate the way it does that. ID of book. That's enough, yeah, ID, and then inside the ID I'll put in the text.
Sorry, Mark.
Yeah.
What is div?
Div, it stands for divider, but really it's a container. It's a box. So a header is a box, main is a box, footer is a box, div is a box. So header, main, footer are boxes with special names. Div is a box that you can make anything.
So you can put it into any section.
Yeah, you can put divs. The only thing you can't do is put a div inside a paragraph. So a paragraph is a lower level than a div. So you would always put paragraphs inside divs, not divs inside paragraphs. But you can put divs inside divs. So it's really just a way of saying, here's a tag that you can use for layout when you don't have another tag to use. So
instead of like head or body or...
Exactly. So a div is just like, I want to make a box over here for something. Make a div. And just give it an ID. Okay, so the ID is book, so that when I do my CSS, I can say, go and find the div called book and do the following with it. Make it orange, give it rounded borders, and give it a white stroke, and so on. Okay, so that's our our button, and then we've got a little image there for down, just to indicate that there is more stuff there. So I'm going to just copy this image here and put it here, and I'll change the name to down icon SVG. Save and refresh. Okay. The reason why the down one isn't here is because it's white, so we can't actually see it. Okay, then we're going to take this text here, and that's going to also be in the main section. So underneath that image, I'm just going to paste it, and I just need to set my wrapping options so that the text wraps, and then I need to mark this up. So I'm going to make the scientific fact an H. Really, this is open to this is quite subjective. I'm going to make it an H4. In other words, it's important, but it's not critically important. Then the rest of this text, this will be a paragraph. Okay, and this will be a paragraph. Okay, so now we've got that information, and then finally we've got our footer. Okay, so our footer is basically just got this little location icon and the word location. So I'll take this image text, paste it in here, and location, and then a paragraph with location. Okay, so if you look at this, the structure of the HTML is logical. The way that you must structure your HTML is the order in which things should appear on your page if there's no styling. That is how you should structure your HTML. So if I look at my HTML, even though this looks absolutely rubbish, I could still use this. I could actually still find my way around this. I could click on the different things and I could use this. So that's the whole point. HTML is about content, and remember, content is king. Content is what you should be focusing on. Only then do you worry about making it look nice. Alright, so that's the first step that I want you to get stuck into today, and then we'll move on to some